are listening to, you are absolutely listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. You do my heart very well. Listen, to all our friends down the street, around the corner, across this nation, and around the world, we welcome you to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. Remember, we have no specific mailing address. In fact, we have no mailbox. All we know is that we live here, and that's good enough for us. Two things we want to accomplish. Number one, we want to put a smile on your face. We hope that we can make you forget about your troubles, whatever you might be facing, just for a little while. And then our second goal is to make you just as crazy as the rest of us here at the Funny Farm. We want you to be a loon. It costs you nothing. You don't have to sign anything. All you have to do is show up, which you did. And by you showing up, you're telling us that you qualify to become a full-fledged loon. Many have come, but very few have left. So welcome to the family. It's good to have you. Wow, we got a show for you tonight. All of our regular listeners know, and you that have been to the blog and have been with me for several years, you all know that the men and women that serve in our United States Armed Forces are near and dear to my heart. They are my heroes. Not the sports figures or the celebrities or this and that and those and these. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know that these men and women that have served, that are serving, are the true heroes in my book. And we have with us tonight one of those men that has served his country, not only served his country, but he has served his fellow warriors just as much. We have, and I know I'm going to tear up your last name, Patrick. We have with us Patrick Thibeault. Is that how I say it?
Thibeault.
I knew it. Look, I have trouble with my own last name, so, you know, why wouldn't I have trouble with everybody else's? Can I just call you Patrick?
Patrick would be great. Thank you.
All right. Before we go any further, Patrick brought to my attention, and if anybody can do it, it can be me, that on our website today, I have put the wrong link to his homepage. If you're at your computer or someplace you can write this down or just type it in your address bar, whatever, his homepage is Medic Story, that's all one word, Medic, MEDIC, story.com. That will take you to Patrick's homepage, and there you can read more about him. You can see the videos. It's a pretty nifty website. So that is, one more time, medicstory.com. So there. And I will change it right after the show, Patrick. Would that be all right?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Tell us something about yourself.
Well, I want to say hello, George, and thank you for letting me on today. And I wrote my journey as a combat medic based on my experiences both in combat and training and in between, you know, starting out as a new medic and growing out as a older medic and the ramifications of war. I grew up as an Army brat. My dad was in the Army for 30 years, and I moved around the world, quite literally. I lived in Europe for 10 years. Of course, I lived in the United States, and graduated from high school in Korea during the Olympics. I was there from 88 to 89. So I'd like to say that I'm pretty well cultured, as I experienced a lot of different culture growing up and saw a lot of different things, and, you know, learned how everybody is different, but in many ways the same. My parents weren't in the medical field at all. I decided when of course, most kids whose parents are in the military, a lot of them decide to join because it's tradition. But I wanted to jump out of airplanes. My dad was stationed at Fort Bragg, and he was a non-paratrooper. But I saw those men and women jumping out of airplanes. And, you know, how kids like to go on carnival rides when you're little.
Mm-hmm.
I equated that to wow, that's one awesome ride to go on. So I wanted to jump out of airplanes. I wanted to join the Army. But I didn't know what job I wanted to do, because it's more than just jumping out of airplanes. You got to have something to do when you land on the ground. I was either going to become an infantryman, and with the hopes of going to the 82nd Airborne Division, or something else. I had a dream, actually, when I was in the 10th grade about being a medic. And I had no experience, obviously, except for watching on TV, about anything medical. And I had this dream about some men in a firefight in a desert environment, and the medic was rendering aid to these men. And after I woke up in that dream, I realized, you know, I'm going to become a paratrooper medic. So I did just that. I graduated from high school in 1989 in Korea at Seoul American High School, and left for basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas, which was in El Paso, which was my first taste of the desert. And on my way to, you know, San Antonio to learn how to become a medic, and then, you know, jump school at Fort Benning, which was so exciting. I hate running, though. And at jump school, you run everywhere. So I got to learn to get over my dislike of running, because we had to run everywhere and do a lot of push-ups, too. And so then I got stationed to my unit, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment at Hunter Army Airfield. And that's where I started out my journey as a new, naive medic, learning how to do learning my trade, learning my profession, the art and science of saving people. And Desert Storm, you know, kicked off in 1990, or Desert Shield, I guess, when Saddam Hussein his soldiers invaded Kuwait. So many American soldiers went over there to Saudi Arabia for an intervention, and I ended up going in around December of 1990 and did some stuff over there as a medic, came home. I was still with the 160th, and did my time in the active Army and started college to become a nurse. And I missed the military, so I joined back up in the National Guard as a medic and graduated from nursing school. But I could have commissioned as an officer to become a nurse, but I realized how much I loved being a frontline medic, being that first person that the soldiers come to when something happens.
Mm-hmm.
I already worked in a hospital in my civilian job, so why would I want to work in a hospital as an Army, you know, as a nurse? I was having too much fun as a combat medic. So then, of course, 9/11 happened, unfortunately. And, you know, our soldiers, well, we went over to Afghanistan to support from 2004 to 2005. And I was with a unit called Task Force Phoenix, and we were embedded with the Afghan army to train and fight with their soldiers all throughout the country. And we were called to duty in August of 2004 for some direct action because of some hostilities that were happening along the Iranian border. And that was my first taste of action in Afghanistan. And I did my tour in Afghanistan, a year and change, and I came home in 2005. I started nurse practitioner school and graduated in 2008 and stayed in the National Guard as a medic. And then I retired in 2011 after serving a little over 20 years of service. And I decided to, write my book, My Journey as a Combat Medic, just to write down my experiences, because there weren't that many medic books out there, and the ones that I've read, I wanted to share my experiences with the world about what I saw, what I felt, and the consequences of combat, like dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I originally published it. I self-published it here locally, and I wanted to get my book, published internationally, so I sent it to several different publishers, and it got picked up by my publishing company, and, and the rest is history, so to speak.
Excuse me, I watched some of your videos this morning when I was reading some more about you. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of books out there, and there's been a lot of books out there about the grunt, the infantryman, the foot soldiers. But you're absolutely right. There's not many about the medics or the corpsmen. And my goodness, men and women that have never been in the military, and particularly in combat, without a medic or without a corpsman, you're in a world of strain. And when you wrote your book, the main reason you wrote it was to make people aware of a combat medic and what he does, right?
Well, I wrote it for several different reasons. One, to tell the story of the combat medic, of course,
mm-hmm.
and two, because I discovered that writing and typing was a way for me to release my energy and my rage from having PTSD.
I was going to ask you that. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I was going to ask you that.
And I also wrote for closure. I wrote for closure. You know how you come to the circle and then you start at the beginning again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote for a sense of closure and to try to find peace. And I think I found some peace. And, but as far as dealing with PTSD and writing, that's why in my book I have a chapter about PTSD, which I open myself up to the world, essentially, about the struggles that I have to deal with as an individual, and different medications I've taken, therapy, what's worked, what hasn't, what triggers it for me, what to avoid, stuff that a lot of combat vets and people that have been exposed that have PTSD from non-combat have to deal with. So that book, that chapter in particular, it's sort of for everyone that has to deal with those kind of, serious issues. And, we have so many good American boys and girls coming home from war today, and what's going to happen after they have a flashback and they try to readjust to society? I mean, are we going to have... It could be a pretty scary situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote my book. I want those kids to read this, to realize that you can be successful, deal with PTSD, and still achieve your dreams.
When men come back from any war, we just never knew what the name of it was, what that thing was called. In our case, when we came back from Vietnam, we knew something was different about us inside, but we didn't talk to anybody about it. or we didn't share it with anybody, they already thought you was half crazy anyway. So, and it took years before somebody, I guess, put a name on this thing. Man, what we would have given for a book like this, just to shed some light and say, hey, you're all right. I mean, just what you're going through is just a normal thing from where you've been, and don't you think that that's one of the biggest problems that's facing our veterans today?
Yes. One, acknowledging that they have a problem, instead of trying to make that problem go away by drinking and doing other sorts of behaviors that are destructive to the person as an individual, which I've gone through that road myself, and coming to terms with the consequences of combat, unfortunately. And I see a lot of young kids that come back from Afghanistan now that don't realize that they might have some problems a little bit later in life. And I try to tell them, go to college, use your GI Bill, focus on school, have fun, but focus on your future and do what's right. As for myself, I've learned to avoid drinking, number one, in any excess, because my alternate personality comes out, and I don't want to have that rage that can be exacerbated by that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had my struggles, and I wanted to share that particular chapter with the reading audience, just so they can get a glimpse of what was going on in my mind and realize that, hey, this is what's going in my mind too, maybe a little different, men and women for that matter, and non-combat veterans that have issues with PTSD. I also wrote about, some of the training that I undertook. Like, as a new medic, there's something called the Expert Field Medical Badge. It's a competition. This is a competition that medics go through. It's a coveted award. For the infantry, it's called the Expert Infantry Badge. And I learned, I did my training with the 75th Ranger, 1st of the 75th Ranger Regiment at Hunter Army Airfield. And it was a 3-week, wake up at 6 in the morning, go run 6 miles at a 7 6-mile pace, and then train all day on certain medical tasks, certain soldier tasks, patrolling, using a compass, all these soldier skills, which it was quite exhausting. I was still a teenager at the time. And I got to use these skills several months later when I deployed to Desert Storm back in 1990. And I realized, that when you do this training repetitively over and over again, and you get to apply it as a medic in the clinical setting, because we had a little clinic there at the post where we would see sick folks. And then when I went into the danger zone, I realized, that I get so much satisfaction out of helping people, with their physical wounds and when they're sick. I really loved what I did. So I guess in a way that dream that I had about being a medic came true. It was something that, we all have our calling in life, and I'm fortunate to say that I found my calling.
Mm.
And for that, I'm happy. Also, on my website at medicstory.com, you see a lot of videos. What I did was, anytime that I could, I would videotape something going on, even if it was sort of dangerous and silly. Not the smartest thing to do. I had a little 5-megapixel camera that would take pictures and take video. So anytime something was going on, I had my camera in one hand, of course my gun or my 8 bag in the other, and I would just tape it as we went along. And on the front page of the website, there's a it's a quite lengthy video. I sort of just did it for fun of different events that happened, played to some different music, and it's sort of fun to watch. It's like a book trailer or an expressive music video, but all that footage was what I took. I mean, none of it I took from anyone else. It was all my footage.
Mm-hmm.
So when people watch that, they just think, wow, there was something really going on here. And here I am, taking pictures of the situation. Of course, there's sometimes that when stuff was going on, the camera went into my pocket and I went to work. But that's why there's nothing, and I wouldn't put anything graphic on a website anyway. That would be disrespectful to that person, because I wouldn't want to be that person on a website, with pictures like that. That's immoral. So I sort of found out I like taking pictures. So anytime I went on any kind of convoy or patrol and we were stopped, I would pop a few pictures in here and there. And because in the first Gulf War, I didn't think about bringing a camera with me. I took some pictures here and there. And because you want to, those pictures bring back those memories, both good times and bad. And I don't believe that in dealing with PTSD, you shouldn't, this is just my theory, you shouldn't have to suppress those memories and forget about them. You have to come to terms with it and deal with it. And for me, that's, some people call that some type of therapy where they immersion therapy in a way. But for me, it was just another way of dealing with it and having fun, something exciting and fun to watch. I sort of missed the military. When I was in the active Army, I was one of the few medics that got to jump out of helicopters and airplanes, because the 160th, we were part of Special Forces Command. So the medic, we had, dual purpose. So at times we would be doing medical coverage in the back of the helicopters. And other times we had a mission where we would parachute out of the airplanes and jump in with our forces.
Mm-hmm.
The funnest jump that I ever had, though, was jumping in the ocean. We would jump out of the back of our, Chinook helicopters, a couple thousand feet in the air, and just jump into the ocean. We didn't have a combat mission to jump in the water, but, you talk about just the sights and the sounds and just all that massive blue landing zone or drop zone, the water as we would approach it, and then that spectacular splash as we landed in the water. And, you have to watch how you position your body when you land on ground, because you can hurt your back. But jumping into water with a parachute, you can jump any way you want, and you're not going to really hurt yourself. So we got to do that a few times, and I really enjoyed doing that. My old unit, the 160th, we had these what we call mini guns. They were the equivalent of Gatling guns. They would shoot multiple rounds very fast, and that was unique to that organization, in the Army anyway. And there are 134 miniguns, I believe. And they would shoot between 2,000 and 4,000 rounds a minute of 7.62, armor-piercing rounds. I was the medic, and I really wasn't supposed to shoot them, but I got to train on those miniguns. And I tell you, to shoot that much lead downrange was exciting, That's one thing I miss as a civilian now, is having access to those weapon systems, just to go out and shoot. I think every soldier, regardless of your job, you like to shoot guns a little bit, because that's what a soldier does.
I have a friend. Excuse me. I have a friend in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the last time we talked. Now you have to understand. Move my chair here a minute. You have to understand that we're in our 60s now, and the last time we talked. Now, for being in our early 60s, we're not 30 no more, but we're not rung up yet either. And he said to me the last time we talked, before we hung up, he says, George, do you miss it? Now, Patrick, I went in 1965. I got out in 1969. So that's what, 30, 40 some years ago. He said, do you miss it? And I said, to this day, I miss it. And he said, he called it an old folks battalion. He said, if they would make up an old folks battalion for one last fight, would you go? And I said, yes, sir. I'd be right up front. So I understand what you're saying. And I had to chuckle when you say that you miss firing those weapons. I was going to ask you a question. What weapon can a medic or a corpsman carry?
We can carry anything that's considered defensive. So an M4 or M16, grenades, a 9mm, they're all considered defensive weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be known, if there's a weapon system on a vehicle and we're on it, it's best that we know how to shoot that thing just in case something bad happens.
Mm-hmm.
So if our gunner had a 50 cal, mounted on top, medic better know how to use 50 cal. That's important because you're still a soldier.
Right.
If there's a weapon system and the great thing is, anytime soldiers would go to the ranges to qualify with the different weapon systems, we'd bring medics, had to go, we would go out and shoot the weapon system. We couldn't officially qualify on it, but we did. So when I was going out with the guys shooting, I got to shoot, the Mark 19 is an automatic grenade launcher. A fun weapon to shoot. So if they were going out to the range to shoot, I would take my turn and learn how to load it, fire it, check it, and shoot it. And of course, after shooting it comes the dreaded cleaning, weapons cleaning time. So I'd learn how to clean them too. But my favorite weapon was really my 9mm because I had my two hands free and I, keep my A bag on my back and grenades. I never had to throw any, but those are important to keep too. My personal weapon of choice was, as a medic, just my 9mm because I can use it for close action, basically. And when a medic needs to start shooting anything larger, there's something bad going on, which has actually happened to some people, not to me personally. My 9mm did fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
I, went through some training as far as leadership in the military to become a sergeant. We had to go through primary leadership course. And this was at Fort Stewart back in, oh my gosh, I'm getting old, 1993. And in this school, you have all these different MOSs or jobs that come together to learn how to, basic soldiering to become a sergeant, to become an NCO.
Mm-hmm.
And I was our platoon had different MOSs, a cook. I was, I think, the only medic, a couple of tankers. But everybody in my unit, in the platoon, they've never really gone out and we had no infantry guys at all. None of them had ever been out on a patrol, a dismounted patrol from point A to point B in their careers, because the tankers don't do that, cooks don't do that, supply specialists don't do that. So I ended up taking charge of the field portion of the exercise because I knew how to, do a recon mission. I know how to patrol from point A to point B and how to set up my point man and how to form 360 perimeter, security point when we stopped. And, they're like looking at me like, who are you? But when you're that medic and you're going out with your, your grunts, you're an extra man. When I would go out with my team, when I was in the 160th, when we would jump in, if somebody went down for a second, but they could still patrol, of course I would take their weapon. So they, had their hands free if something happened, so they could take a rest for a minute. So I wasn't an infantryman, but I learned many, many things that our infantrymen learned, and I got to implement that. So I say that the medic is a warrior healer. A warrior by training, because every soldier is a warrior, and a healer by choice, because you choose to learn how to heal. When people think of medics in the Army, what's the first thing you think they think of? And I know that we're from different generations, sort of.
Yeah.
But for me, it's when people think of medics, they think of starting IVs. You got to get that IV in, Doc. You got to get that IV. And that's one thing that I loved and I miss. Well, I still do it on my civilian side, but doing it outside, in a swamp or in the desert, is something that I miss doing, because you're that only person that can get that IV. We have people called combat lifesavers that medics train how to do non-medical or medical skills that are not medics, and they sort of help us out. But essentially, anything, medically related falls on that medic. And I was that medic downrange that the platoon sergeant had a guy go down, and I was the only medic on the patrol, which is usually the case anyway. And he was telling me, you got to get that IV in. And they would call for a medevac bird to come pick up my casualty, and I would already have them stabilized by the time the helicopter would land. So, but the job of the medic, hasn't changed, but the skills of the medic has. I remember when I was in school to learn how to be a medic. You remember the old green field dressings, the little field dressings we would put in our little field dressing pocket, and if something happened, you would take out the field dressing. Nobody uses those anymore. And when I used to pack my medic bag, I would always pack 15 or 20 of them just in case. The dressings that they have now, they have you can put the dressing on, you can wrap it, and if you need to make it into a tourniquet effect, you can do that without having to put a tourniquet on. And the way that the medics assess the patients now, first thing that they do is, if there's a bleeding wound, is they pop on a tourniquet. And they have these real, how back in the day the medics we would use some rope and a stick and twist it around till the bleeding stopped. Now they have these real fancy tourniquets that sort of, they don't quite twist themselves around, but almost. And of course, my favorite medic bag was what was called the M5 medic bag. It was you zipper it open and you put your stuff in there and you zip it shut. And now they have these like Black Hawk medic bags that you can pack a whole aid station in practically. Not real practical when you go out on a patrol, because you're not going to use all those supplies. So what I would do is pack a little medic bag that I would carry with me on a patrol, and if something bad happened, I would have my big Black Hawk bag, ready to go, where I have all my aid stations set up in a bag. So I learned, not to overpack stuff that you're not going to use. You ever remember that movie? If I remember it quite, there was a movie where a soldier was going on his first field patrol in Vietnam, and his platoon sergeant was going through all his rucksack and throwing out stuff that he wouldn't need. And when I was a young medic, my medic sergeant did the same thing. When we would go out to the field, like, why are you packing all this junk? You're not going to use it. It serves no practical purpose, so it stayed back. So, you learn from your old sergeants about what to do and what not to do and what to bring out to the field. Well, when I would go out to the field, I'd learn why bring my sleeping bag. I just bring my a couple of blankets, basically, and go like that. So, a lot has changed, but a lot really has stayed the same.
What were the Afghani soldiers like?
They were different. Not quite very well trained. They were given the AK-47 as their weapon of, defense.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we worked with the conventional army, the regular, infantry soldiers, and I had the opportunity to work with the Afghani medics. And, they were a couple decades behind, really, in technology and medical care. They had a physician when I was embedded with them in a city called, outside of a city called Herat by the Iranian border. They very disorganized. They didn't realize the concept that in combat, the medics stay open 24 hours a day. So when the day was over at their aid station, they would lock it up. And if anything bad happened, they would end up coming to us to take care of it. If something bad happened to one of their soldiers
Mm-hmm.
on a mission or something, they didn't realize it was a 24-hour, you never get to go to, you go to sleep, but you know that you could be woken up at 2 in the morning and you got to go do something. That's the life of a medic. Intelligent people, they've been oppressed for so long by when the Russians invaded back in 1979, and I see these people and they want hope and they want, a chance of living in the world in 2012. I've seen on the news about a lot of green on blue.
Mm-hmm.
Basically Afghan soldiers shooting American soldiers, and that's just heartbreaking. And it just luckily that didn't happen when I was embedded with them. But on the other hand, I wouldn't turn my back on them either.
Right.
There is a degree of trust that you build, like with my medical folks that I worked with. They cared about people. I mean, I can say this because we spent hours with them, but there's always that lingering thought, I'm not going to turn my back completely, regardless. And I always had my weapon on me, loaded, on safe, just in case something bad happened. Because, I wanted to come home alive,
Right.
But, yeah, it was, because I was embedded, it was culturally very, educational. The majority of the soldiers are Muslim, but believe it or not, many were Christian, and many didn't really profess any religion.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of everybody there was, because Afghanistan, it's not really a Middle Eastern country. If you think about it, it's by Russia and by China, and many of the Afghan soldiers, some of them looked Chinese a little bit. Many looked European, but not your typical someone that looks Persian or from Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they spoke 2 different languages, Pashto and Dari, and depending on but the language that we used was Dari, pretty much.
So,
I didn't speak it. We had interpreters, of course.
So when excuse me, when you first went in the military as a young fella, is probably what, 18?
18. Yep.
When you went in, and then when you started to become a medic, and you mentioned that you not only had to learn how to soldier, you had to learn how to become a medic at the same time. Everyone can't be a medic. It's like a doctor, or you as a nurse in your profession now. Everybody isn't cut out to be that way. But there's some individuals like you that was cut out to be a medic. You're in that medical profession where you you said you was a warrior and a healer by choice. So everyone can't be a medic. How many years total? Just kind of guesstimate from the time you started training in the service to become a medic up until now, the present day. How many years total do you think you've had in training?
I'm going to count informal training too, because the time that I would spend at my aid station with our doctor when I was in the 160th counted almost like doing clinical time. So 4 years of that, of doing sick call, going out, field medicine. I would say 4 years of medical training. My bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree, and my master's as a nurse practitioner, which is 3 years. So, oh my gosh, 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 years of, hands-on, getting your hands dirty medical training. And another reason why I wrote my book is I want every medic to aspire to be something better. Either become a paramedic, become a nurse, physical therapist, or a doctor, or a physician assistant. I chose to become a nurse practitioner because I went through the nursing route. And as a nurse practitioner, I could write prescriptions, diagnose, I can order x-rays, I can everything like that.
So you're what can I call you? A mini doctor.
Yeah, we're called mid-level providers, essentially.
That's pretty cool. And a lot of you that's in that position, a lot of you doing the heavy lifting, aren't you?
That's why I got my master's degree.
Yeah.
Because too many years of jumping, one bad jump, I hurt my back, and it's not been the same. A lot of the paramedics and EMTs, they do all the heavy lifting. I still work as a nurse part-time, and I do a lot of heavy lifting then. But as a nurse practitioner, I see my patients and write the prescriptions. I do whatever exam I need to do on them. Of course, I talk to them and treat them and try to get them better.
What was Go ahead.
I chose not to work as a paramedic, although it's an exciting profession. I just don't think my back could have handled it.
Mm-hmm. What? I almost forgot what I was going to ask you. What's some of the worst? What was it like to treat a combatant?
I don't consider them to be a combatant once they're under my care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or as enemy combatants, I see them, and I'm not Mr. Paint the daisies and everybody hold hands and sing kumbaya by any means. But when they're no longer fighting against us, I see them as another person that's wounded that needs care. I see them as another human being, and as a medical professional, regardless of creed or whatever they believe in, I'm obligated to, render medical care to them. I didn't distinguish, and I can say this in my heart. Of course, my heart is for American soldiers. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But as a medical person, I didn't treat them any different. And I can go to sleep at night knowing that regardless of who they were, me as a human being and as an American soldier, I made them realize, the Americans are so bad. Here I am wounded, and this guy's working on me.
I was going to ask you, what kind of reactions did you get from them?
My first encounter with a POW, a fresh POW off the field of battle, was back in 1991 when I was still a teenager. And a platoon, basically, of Iraqis surrendered to our unit. And we had to work on them. They were pretty messed up, Here I was, still very wet behind the ears, but very eager to get my hands wet. I had these, there was about 20 of them, and all of us medics took a handful. I had 3 men in front of me. Of course, we had shooters behind, some special forces soldiers behind us providing security in case something happened. And I looked in this guy's, I had 2 soldiers that were happy that we were helping them, and one that was somewhat resistant. And the one that was resistant, the shooter just let him know that, hey, I've got a weapon aimed at you, so anything funny happens, it's going to be a bad situation. Mm-hmm. So after that, the guy settled down and realized, you're not going anywhere, so let me just help you out. It was different because the language barrier, I had to use a translator to find out what was going on with these men and let them know that, as a medic, you have to feel the body to find wounds. And so I used a translator, of course, and I did my assessment just like on anyone else that was wounded. And I started a couple IVs, dressed some wounds, cleaned some wounds, and stabilized them. It was scary because in the heat of the moment, when you start work, after the adrenaline rush subsides a little bit, you realize you have a job to do. It was scary a little bit, and at the same time, my adrenaline rush from doing my job as a medic kicked in, and I started to sweat a little bit. And I look in the eyes of these 3 guys, and I realize they're just people like me. We're different political beliefs, different religious beliefs for that matter. It didn't matter. So I realized that I don't see them as they're still the enemy, but I saw them as other human beings that needed help. The saddest, to me, the saddest casualties to treat are the soldiers that have wounds that become amputations, mm-hmm. because they know that on the field, the battlefield, you put a tourniquet on when that wound's blown off already. That's it. They're going to have to get a prosthetic from that point on. So, and all that blood loss. Scares me a little bit, because you release that tourniquet, you bleed out, and there's only so much blood. And I didn't carry any blood products in my, obviously in my medic bag. I didn't have a refrigerator for that. So to me, that was the scariest kind of wound to manage, is the amputations. Because if you pump them too much with fluid, none of the wound won't give a chance to coagulate. So it's a fine line between keeping their blood pressure up and keeping them, letting that wound close off, even with the tourniquet.
Let me go back to the syndrome here. I have no idea, because I've never experienced that. But when you said someone's lost a limb, or they might lose both legs or both arms, whatever, or lose both legs and both arms. Take that's bad enough. Couple that with the mental anguish and the tremendous battle that you have to fight mentally. That has to be the most devastating blow that any human being can go through. But yet we have countless hundreds upon thousands of young men and women that's come back, maybe not with both legs, both arms blown off, but with one or the other, or some of them blown off. Do you, now that you're out, you're a civilian, and you're working in a hospital, do you ever get to work with any wounded veterans in your area?
I know a few veterans that have amputations, and they have artificial limbs, and of course the range of motion on it is so limited. But to me, it's an attestament to the spirit of the human being, that something so traumatic happened, and yet they're still out there doing their thing, optimistic and so full of life. And I know that sometimes it's, externally they show that, and internally they're struggling. But I have to commend that struggle, that they're still here with us, and they're still, fighting the fight. I know one man, he volunteers at the Veterans Hospital. He was wounded in Iraq, a young guy, and he volunteers at the hospital, full of spirit and life, and had so much taken away from him. He lost a limb, his left arm. And, and it's like, I think to myself, oh, great, I'm having a crappy day, blah, blah, blah. And here I am. I'm not having a crappy day at all.
Uh-huh.
I compare how can I even complain about my day when this guy's got such an upbeat attitude, and he puts a smile on your face, and I'm going to complain about me having a bad day? So it does highlight the greatness of the human spirit, and just some of these men and women have come home and really have been an inspiration, and to me, actually, as well. And I was just honored that I was out there being one of the guys, and women too, that had the opportunity to take care of, these are the true heroes, in my opinion.
When you see men and women like the man you just described, and you mentioned it, I'm not having a bad day. In our spoiled society, where we want everything, and if we can't get it, we pout and go through tantrums and so on and so forth, and the car didn't start, so I'm going to have a 19th nervous breakdown, or all these, I call them trivial things. And I've always tried to keep those things in perspective, that life is very short, and we have so much to be thankful for. And I've been just like everyone else throughout the years. I've grumbled, I've groaned, I complained, I've done this, I've done that. I was having a bad day. Just life isn't fair, and blah, 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 blah. And then usually somewhere when I'm running my face like that, somewhere down the line, it'll come to me. Now, wait a minute. You survived. You're relatively healthy. You're not in a wheelchair. You're not bedridden. So just shut up. Thank God that you are where you are, and you're doing what you can do, and get on with your life. If more of us Americans would spend time, and I'm talking about myself too, Patrick, if we would spend time, if we would find, like the Wounded Warriors, or any other, there's a number of programs out there that people can volunteer or write a letter, do anything. If we could hear the servicemen and the servicewomen's side of what they went through, I think that we'd all become better people, don't you?
Definitely.
So when we're griping because it rained, think of the fellow that's laying out in the rain, and we're griping about this and griping about that. What's the old saying? You complain because you have no shoes until you see the man that has no legs or no feet.
No feet, yeah.
So there's always someone that's worse off than we are. We can buy your book at, is it Amazon?
It's on Amazon.com. The links, it's on all the websites, actually. It's on Barnes & Noble's, there's some links on my website, medicstory.com, to where the book can be purchased. It's for those Apple folks. It's on iTunes or iBooks.
Mm-hmm.
It's Diesel eBooks. Even my publisher has it on their website, of course. Osprey Publishing.
Is it available on Kindle?
Oh yes, it's definitely available in Kindle.
Oh, great. Okay. We're Kindle fanatics here, but but you can get it on almost any ebook device.
Yes.
So there's any number of places. What's the plans for your future?
Continue writing. I'm working on a fictional book right now about a time-traveling doctor from the future that has to go back to the past to learn how to practice medicine in different time eras, like the Civil War, Vietnam, Desert Storm. Of course, it's basically because I'm a medical person and I know what it's like to be out in the field. So I'm writing a fictional book like that, and it's just a fun thing I'm doing. I like to write poetry also. I continue to. I have about 100 different poems that I've written about being a medic and dealing with PTSD and suicide and issues affecting veterans. And of course, I enjoy life. I still work as a nurse practitioner. I'm in the VFW. Unfortunately, I can't always attend the meetings like I'd like to because of my job requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to get by. I pretty much like everybody else, I would say, and trying to make the best out of life too.
So you spent 20 years in the Army.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what it felt like after 20 years in the military, and you stepped into civilian life. Did you go through a culture shock?
I remember my last day of service, and I was putting on my uniform, putting on my boots. Of course, now the boots that we have, we don't have to shine anymore. And I was putting them on, and I realized, this is the last time that I'm going to be putting on these boots as a soldier. And I just sat down and I thought about it. I was like, wow, 20 years, and I'm putting on this uniform for the last time as a soldier. And I got a little teary-eyed because, after 20 years of doing it, and you think of these mundane things that you do every day, you don't even put much thought into it. And in my last time I went out and shot my M4, with the rifle, I said, this is the last time I'm going to the range to shoot my gun, or my rifle, I should call it. So, of course, I just went and I just shot off everything. I just had fun. I didn't care anymore. I had to qualify, but after that, they let people go out and shoot again. So I just kept on shooting. I didn't care. And you realize these last times that you do all this. And then the day after that, I was a civilian. I didn't have to worry about shaving or growing my hair. Of course, I'm pretty much bald now anyway, so it didn't matter. And put on a couple of pounds after that, unfortunately. But I can, do I miss it? Oh, yeah, I definitely, I miss it. I miss that, you had a sense of mission in the military, unlike any other job in the world, I think. And you had even more so is that sense of, it's not a sense, it's that camaraderie that you automatically have. I became friends with another medic that was in Iraq, and we knew each other for 2 minutes. And we knew that we were going to be best buds forever because of our shared experiences, even though we didn't know each other. But we knew what we did, and we knew what our goals were, and we knew what our job was. So I miss that sense of camaraderie more than anything. And that's why it's important for our young veterans to be a part of the our veterans organizations that we have for that spirit to live on. And because these veteran organizations are so, they add something to society. They let people that never served, it makes them realize, the sacrifice that many men and women have laid down their lives for, and it brings purpose to, what we did. All the politics aside, it brings purpose and camaraderie. So, I want to tell all the young combat vets, join the VFW, join the Legion, join AMVETS. If you're service connected, join the DAV. It's so important to be a member of these groups.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's where, combined with our hands together, we can affect policy that affects veterans. If we're by ourselves, we can't do anything.
Yeah,
together we can we can have a voice for future veterans.
That loneliness, being by ourselves, can take us into some dark, deep pits that we just don't want to go there. And I think that's what we all had to learn. Don't be alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. And when you're talking about your brothers and your sisters, that's exactly what they are. They're your brothers and your sisters forever. And there's just something. It's like you said. If you meet another serviceman that served in Vietnam, nobody ever welcomed us home. So I don't know who started it, but way back when, somebody decided if nobody's going to welcome us home, we'll welcome each other home. So when you run into someone that served in Nam, it's always welcome home, welcome home. So we welcomed ourselves home. But for years, so many of us spent so much time alone and doing those things that you said, drinking and into drugs and this and that and those and these. And you just end up being in a dark world, a deep pit, and it's endless. You just spiral out of control. And unfortunately, some don't make it back. Others do.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to put our heads together, our arms around each other, and just let everyone know somebody's here for you. Patrick, thank you so much. I consider it, and I mean this, I consider it an honor to have you here tonight. I appreciate you so much. Never met you personally, but it goes along with just what we were saying. It seems like I've known you all my life. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service, not only to this country, but your service to your brother and sister warriors. Because without the medics, without the corpsmen, oh my, I wouldn't even want to think about it. I salute you, I tip my hat to you, and I stand proud that I've talked to you tonight. And I just trust that God will bless you real good, and everything you put your hand to will blossom and bloom. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate it, George. Thank you.
And we'll get in touch with you when we start our new program, I promise.
That'll be exciting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Patrick.
All right.
And let's stay in touch.
All right, we will.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. We have guests from all walks of life. You'll have to excuse me. I get choked up, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not apologizing for it. By no means. That's my heroes. And I hope that those men and women that are serving to this day and that have served in the past, I hope they're your heroes. And if you know a veteran, or you have a loved one that's serving, or you know someone that's serving now, I don't care if they're in the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're serving in the United States Armed Forces, let them know. Let them know how much you appreciate them, how much you care. Let them know that you're praying for them, And don't ever be ashamed to walk up to a man or woman in uniform. Put your hand out and just say thank you. They'll know what you mean. Guaranteed. Patrick, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. My, there's so much that you can talk about. Where am I going here? We are going to go faster than a speeding bullet. This is Wednesday. They call it Hump Day. I can never figure out why we call it Hump Day. I know they say that you're going over the hump and down the hill, you're heading for the weekend. Okay, I'll buy that. But who said we can't move faster than a speeding bullet on a Wednesday night? Anybody here agree that we can just move as fast as we want to move and do what we want to do? How about it? How about the loons over there in the corner? Right? You're slow tonight. Yeah, you're really slow. Now, yeah, I know. Isaac does it. This is what we're going to do. We are going to move fast. Now, you've been sitting and you've been listening, and you have been intently listening. I can tell. I can see you. I'm looking in my magic mirror. I can see you out there. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to kick back the seat. Look, I'll kick back my chair. All right? All right, Charlie, we're going to do what we plan to do. Charlie's running the board. That's Charlie Wiener. Charlie Wiener Dog. He's the co-host. He's my announcer, and he's running the soundboard. This is what I want you to do. Everybody stand up, stretch, get loose. All of us here at the Funny Farm Radio Studio are heading out for the dance floor. Now, I've got mic cord here that'll get me way, way out there unless somebody steps on it on the way. That always jerks me back to reality. But anyhow, I've got enough cord to get me way out there on the dance floor. And I think everybody wants to loosen up, and I mean tap your feet, snap your fingers, bob your head, shake your booty, because we're going to move faster. Faster than a speeding bullet. Are you ready? It's dance night.
I never recall your love.
Wow. That just got... Charlie, what'd you do? Oh, anyhow, listen to me real quick. Patrick's webpage is medic, MEDIC, story, STORY.com. medicstory.com. I don't even know what I put up on the webpage today. Probably something combat medic story. But here it is, medicstory.com. So go there. Videos, all about Patrick, different things where you can buy his book. Wow. And there's a place there I think you can email. Say thanks. I know he'll appreciate it. All right. Faster than a speeding bullet. Loosen up. Let your hair down. Come on. Tap both your feet. Stand up. That's it. You'll feel better. Are we having fun yet? I am. Come on. We're not gonna quit. some of the music that's provided tonight, like every night, is from our friends at Music Alley, musicalley.com. Go visit them. Check it out. I think you'll like what you see. musicalley.com. Thank you, boys and girls. Hey, listen, tomorrow night, what's that, October 25th? Man, 25th already? Great day in the morning. Bob Wilkie, former NFL player, will be with us, and he's going to be sharing with us the things that he does and what he's doing now that he is no longer playing professional hockey. I think you'll enjoy it. And then, Friday night, we have the crazy total tutor. Man, I have a problem with that. Neil Haley out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. No, seriously, he is a very serious fella. Very serious. He'll be with us Friday night. And I just hope he just lets his hair down. Of course, you don't have a whole lot of hair. I just hope he lets himself go like he did last time. I mean, Neil was getting down last time. And I hope he does the same thing. The Total Tutor from the Total Education Network. Over 80 stations across this nation and around the world. I know you'll enjoy him. And we'll have a special surprise Friday night. I think we got some folks coming in here that's going to really, they're going to shake it down. They're going to move it over. They're going to bump it up. They're going to do all those things. Hey, I don't know if you noticed or not, but man, for the last several days, I've just been feeling like down under, you know what I'm saying? But I feel better. I feel better tonight. I think I'm coming back to my old self. So, faster than a speeding bullet. Who said you can't be faster than a speeding bullet on a Wednesday night? Watch me. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. Just get up and shake it. This isn't Dancing with the Stars. This is just getting down and dancing. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want you to do. We want you to get up and move around, have some fun. There's no rule that says you can't have fun on Wednesday night. And there's no rule that says you can't get up in your kitchen or in your living room or wherever you're at. You might be walking out listening on your iPhone or on your Droid system. Just go with it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to do what you want to do when you want to do it, where you want to do it, and just how you want to do it. You know, don't worry about what people are saying. Which reminds me, I want you to join the Raisin Nation. That's right, the raisin. You know, like raisins in a box. I want you to join the Raisin Nation. Yes, we have started a Raisin Nation. We have friends all over. Look, we've got them. We've got them right here in this neighborhood where the Funny Farm Radio studio is. People's eating raisins. down the street and around the corner, more and more people's eating raisins. We're having us a Raisin Nation time around here. So we've started a Raisin Nation. So we want you to become part of the Raisin Nation. Will you do that? My friend Lou Balls up there in New Jersey, he told me today he gonna start eating raisins. Man, I'm telling you, we got people across this nation that's going to start eating raisins, that's been eating raisins. We got turtles eating raisins. Harry over there in Ireland, he's got birds eating raisins. Even the animal kingdom, they don't want bird feed, they want raisins. Give us raisins. We want raisins. So we started a Raisin Nation. You don't got to sign nothing. You don't got to buy nothing. You don't got to do anything. Just start eating raisins. We have folks in Italy, over there in the United Kingdom. We got it. We got this thing going on. We want you to become a part of it. Be part of the Raisin Nation. I guess I ought to tell you in case you just stumbled in. I don't know how many just stumbles into this crazy place. But anyhow, you're listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. And yes, I'm starting to feel better. I'll tell you, I don't know what that was that jumped on me. What's today? Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. I don't know. Sunday, Monday, somewhere along the line. But man, I just couldn't get myself together. I couldn't get my act together. Of course, it's never together anyhow. But nonetheless, become part of the Raisin Nation. Look me up on Facebook and become part of the Raisin Nation. So there's two things we want you to do. Three things. We want you to come to the Funny Farm. We want you to become a loon. All you have to do to become a loon is show up. You become a full-fledged loon. Excuse me. And now we want you to join the Raisin Nation. And again, you don't have to do anything. Don't buy anything. Don't sign anything. Just say, hey, I want to become part of the Raisin Nation. And when you start eating them raisins, it won't be long until you'll be on your Facebook page. And you'll be letting the world know that I'm eating raisins. And you'll be telling us what great things raisins does for you. I mean, look, is there anything wrong with me? I love raisins. I've been eating raisins a long time. Is there anything wrong with me? Huh? What do you think? Is there anything? Yeah.
Last night keep running through my head. Tell me it's the end. You are so unkind. I don't wanna hear it now. Sure to blow my mind. You build me up just to knock me down. You build me up just to knock me down. Build me up and knock me down. Drag my name all over town. Pick me up, spit me out. Tell me what it's all about. Build me up and knock me down. I can't find no hiding place. Leave me at the lost and found. Build me up and knock me down. A better way, nothing can be done. You mean everything to me. You're the only one. Friday on my mind. Weekend on its way. Can't help what I'm feeling now. Nothing more to say. You build me up just to knock me down. You build me up just to knock me down. Build me up and knock me down. Giving me the mess around. Speak to me, to my face, saying I'm a hopeless case. Build me up and knock me down. Making me feel worthless now. Kicking me down to the ground. Build me up and knock me down. Build me up and knock me down. Giving me the mess around. Speak to me, to my face, saying I'm a hopeless case. Build me up and knock me down. Making me feel worthless now. Kicking me down to the ground. Build me up and knock me down. Build me up.
And I want to say a special thank you one more time to Patrick. I'm not going to say it right. I know I'm not. Thibeault. Thibeault. Thank you, Patrick. Hey, listen, everybody. Find you a veteran. Give him a big hug. Give her a big hug. They deserve it. You know what I'm saying? I want to say hello to my friend Jonathan over there in... Jonathan, you in England, Ireland? You're there somewhere. Thanks for all the time. Jonathan says he's got a bag of raisins for me. Listen, I want you to do... And I'm going to teach you someday. We're going to put it on. We're going to put it on. On film. The digital camera thing. Duh. I'm going to teach you how to do the raisin bounce. You join the Raisin Nation. I'll teach you how to do the raisin bounce. I'm telling you. I'll have everyone, far and wide, doing the raisin bounce, and we ain't going to be ashamed of doing it anyway. And you're looking good. Come on, keep going. Keep going. No need to stop now. We got some more. Come on. You're looking good. You're listening to the George Espinlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. It's hard to tell what we'll do, but listen, every night we have a different guest from all walks of life, from all over the world. And we sit up and we pay attention. We listen to what they have to say. But after they leave, we let insanity fall down upon us. Like now. I just feel that insanity falling down upon me. I'm feeling pretty good. It must be the raisins. Come on. You can do the raisin bounce to this, too. Get up and bounce, baby. Bounce.
I want you to talk to me, yeah. Come on, come on, come on. Need you to talk to me, yeah. Talk to me. Can you hear me? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Can you hear me? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Can you hear me? Talk to me. Talk to me.
best that. He's fishing something out of his special case of his compartments, and I can see Thibeault thingamybobs there, and I can see juggling balls and so forth, and I think the best way to explain this is...
Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell me something I wanna hear. Get up closer, nothing to fear. You can talk now, reaching new heights. We can dance through the night.
Time for a demo. I can see you reaching for your case there. I am. This is the best thing I can do. Can you hear me? I think the best that. He's fishing something out of his special case of his compartments, and I can see Thibeault thingamybobs there, and I can see juggling balls and so forth, and I think the best way to explain this is...
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to
I think the best way to explain this is to read this, if I may, to you. Oh, it looks very long. It's not. No, it's not that long. It's an extract from Cascade, which was the juggling magazine, and it's called The Healing Powers of Juggling, and this is what really got me ticking, right? Browsing through accounts of voyages of discovery, we come upon the occasional report.
What'd that man say? Tell me what that man said. I didn't know if they was doing a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Or just what they was doing. I don't know. But it was it was pretty cool. I think it was just pretty cool. Huh? Oh, I feel it. I'm feeling better already. I really am. Hey, email me. George C.E. That's George C.E. at Comcast.net. I dare you to email me. Almost said airmail me. I know there's some people who would like to airmail me, but email me, GeorgeCE at Comcast.net. GeorgeCE at Comcast.net. We have yet to do our Skype on the air. My goodness gracious. Maybe tomorrow night. I keep saying maybe tomorrow night. But you know what? One of these tomorrow nights, it's going to be tomorrow night when we do it. Maybe it'll be tomorrow night. What do you think of that? Join us tomorrow night. We're not quite done yet. Come on. Get out there and do it. Some of you all worked up. I mean, you're just sweating. Your hair's all down. That's good. You're looking good. Keep tapping your feet, snapping your fingers, and shaking your booty. Come on. It's the raisins. I'm telling you, it's the raisins. Let me throw this in here to you. Coming up at the bottom of the hour. That's right, coming up at the bottom of the hour. I'm just going to throw this in for my friend here. J-Real. The TJRS show. The J-Real show. At Blog Talk Radio. Jump over there. Jump over there as soon as we're done here. That's at the bottom of the hour. Blog Talk Radio. The J-Real show. I dare you. Get over there and see what's going on. Oh, my goodness gracious. Aunt Sally, I'm having so much fun. I hate to put a caboose on the end of this thing. I like this song because I can relate to it. It says memory. Memory. Hey, thanks to our friends down there at the Music Alley. The Music Alley. They provided some of the music that we're playing tonight, and they provide music that we play every single night. MusicAlley.com. Go check them out. I dare you. I dare you. Visit the Espen blog, theespenblog.com. Stay tuned for our radio show page. We got to make some changes. Remember, Patrick that was here tonight, the combat medic, go to his website. His website is Medic Story. Medic Story. MEDICSTORY.com. Medic Story. And I think you can even email from off that website. So email them and say, thank you. Thank you for your service, my friend. Keep on keeping on, my brother. Well, it's almost time to get out of here. But come on, shake it. Shake it one more time for me. I dare ya. We're going to have to ride this puppy out of here. It's been fun. It's been fun. Again, thank you very, very much, Patrick, for being here. Combat Medic. Go to Medic Story, medicstory.com. Get the book. Get the book. I know it'll thrill you. It'll be an inspiration to you. Find you a veteran. Hug him or her. Thank them for their service. Whether they've already served, whether they're serving now. Give them a great big hug. Tell them that you're proud of them. Thank them. Because it's our freedom. It's because of them we have this great freedom. To all my friends down the street, around the corner, across this nation and around the world, I want to thank you for tuning in one more time. Be with me tomorrow night when Bob Wilkie, former National Hockey League player, I get it, will be with us. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. Same time, same station. I love saying that. Until then, no matter what you're going through, I want you to know that there's a whole lot of love coming to you from the Funny Farm. You bet there is. We act goofy. We're silly. You never know what's going to come out of our mouth, if anything. And it might be all twisted and torn up anyhow when it does get out. But listen, we care about people. We care about you. Email me, georgece@comcast.net. georgece@comcast.net. I dare you. georgece@comcast.net. Till tomorrow night, wherever you're at. If it's nighttime, have a good night. If it's already tomorrow, have a good day. But until then, stay safe. This is George Espinlov saying good night. And God just bless you real, real good.